Hello everyone, Patana MMA back with another video. Week 5 breakdown of DWCS fight between Navajo Stirling and Phillip Latu. Some light heavyweight action on DWCS. You always love to see it. We need some fresh blood in the light heavyweight division, so it's always good to have some new faces in the mix. I'm going to start with Navajo Stirling, who I think is a very intriguing striking prospect. He is coached by Eugene Behrman, so he has the connection to the Australian roots. He's a kickboxing and Muay Thai specialist. I mean, he's had multiple kickboxing and Muay Thai fights against some pretty solid competition, and he's done fairly well in those fights. On his Tapology, it says he has a loss to Fua Lam. I thought he was robbed in that fight. I actually thought he won that fight. So he has some pretty unreal hand speed and some pretty sharp combinations with an insane 83-inch reach. Navajo Stirling is a freak athlete, and he has a crazy build to go along with it. He's very accurate and calm in the pocket and picks his shots well with some very sharp Muay Thai, some great head kicks, leg kicks, teep kicks, knees. He has a lot of great striking in his arsenal, and he could finish the fight with really all of those shots. And when I tell you he has power, I mean this kid has power, man. He is throwing some big punches that are putting dudes out. I mean, he really has the perfect build for a light heavyweight in a sense because he's got the length, he's got the reach, he's got just the striking arsenal of some really top level fighters, honestly. I really love his striking. He has some amazing spinning attacks. He throws the spinning kick to the body constantly and he really drills it in there. And he's very evasive. He barely gets hit clean at all. He has a very solid chin. His striking defense is also good. He rolls with punches. He doesn't really ever get caught clean. Great chin, doesn't ever get hit, and he swarms when he smells blood. He is just a very dangerous striker. The only problems with him on the feet that I've been able to point out are that when he gets into his mode of when he starts to smell blood and swarm, he can be clipped, which I feel like anyone can. And he is susceptible to some pressure fighters that'll stay in his face, but most of the time they've gassed out due to his body work and just him breaking them down with his strikes. In the grappling, he's actually a lot better than I expected. He can throw some mean power takedowns. He has a slam knockout on his record. He can be controlled on the cage, and his volume does start to slow down a bit later in fights, but his ground and pound and top control are very solid. His mindset is something I really thought was good. I'm very impressed by his mindset. And I just think he is the complete package of what you're looking for in a prospect, especially in the division like light heavyweight. And I'm very interested to see how Navajo Stirling is going to look. So Phillip Latu is a pretty similar fighter, I guess you could say. He also has experience in K1 kickboxing. Not in K1 exactly, but in that format of kickboxing. He's a former heavyweight as well. So he was a big boy at one point, and he's dropped down to light heavyweight since. But he is a slower starter, I will say. A lot of his knockouts come in the later portions of fights, just maybe not very early on. He does have an early knockout, but that was just a big punch that landed that just put the dude out. Normally, he's a slower starter. He does some looping punches and big power with all 6 wins of his coming by KO, 6-1 record, all 6 wins by KO. Obviously, the dude's got some serious power. His level of competition has also been all right. I didn't bring that up for Sterling, but they have similar levels of competition. Really, no standout wins on their record, but just a bunch of solid like journeymen. Uh, Latu is a brawler, but he does get countered a lot. Like there are times where he's rushing and throwing these looping punches, and he's getting countered and hit clean way too often. He does have a solid chin to make up for it, but he can be rocked, he can be stunned. He does have some quick hands, good head kicks, and a really nice jab that he uses at range to kind of keep people off. And he loves to throw the flying knees. Always expect him to throw a flying knee because he throws some really good knees. He's landed some knees that have knocked people out. So though that's a tool in his arsenal that he's always going to be using. His spinning kicks and just spinning elbows are like crazy. He does have some very interesting strikes on the feet. He's very similar to Sterling in that they're both very well versed on the feet, and he's also a swarming finisher. They both are very similar on the feet. Sterling is just a little bit longer than he is. I think there's about a 4 or 5 inch reach difference here, but other than that, they're very similar on the feet. The big difference here, though, is Latu's ground game and takedown defense. His and just defense in general, I should say. He gets hit way too often. He has pretty bad defense in the clinch. He can get hit by clinch knees, Muay Thai. His takedown defense is not good. His kicking defenses could be better. And when he gets on his back, he kind of just starts getting pounded on and looks a little bit lost there. Not the best submission defense. Just there's not a lot to be, he leaves a lot to be desired when it comes to his ground game. So that's a thing, that's a part of his game that I don't know if Sterling will exploit because he is a striker at heart. So he has grappled before in fights. I could very well see him taking it to the ground in this fight, but I think Sterling will want to strike, especially in front of Dana White, looking for a contract on the line. I don't see how this turns into a boring grappling match. Let me just say that. I think one of these guys is going to get knocked out, and at the very least, it'll be a decision where they do throw some hands. I like this fight a lot, but I do think Navajo Sterling has the edge here. I just think he's the more clean striker. He's just a little bit more calm in there, a little bit more precise, and he just gets the job done. And I just like what I see when I watch him. It's very visually pleasing, very visually pleasing striker. And I'm going to take Navajo Sterling to win this fight. I'm going to have him win by knockout in the second round. I think he might use his wrestling a bit in the first, maybe try to get comfortable with a Latu, strike with him a bit, then try to tire him out a bit and really, really try to put it on him in that second round. And I think he could finish him with a clinch knee, a clinch elbow, something like that, where he hits one of those and then just pounds away for the TKO stoppage, or even puts him out with one of those. Sterling has some real good power. So either way, I do think I lean Sterling in this fight for sure. Uh, Latu can definitely land a big shot on the feet and rock Sterling and hurt him bad, but I just think the chances of that happening are a lot less than Sterling being able to weather the storm, kind of hold off, not get hit, and then land a big shot of his own that ends the fight. So Navajo Sterling round two knockout will be my official prediction for this fight. I think Navajo Sterling has some real potential in this division, and I think there is a chance we could be looking at a future top 15 light heavyweight if all things do work out for him. I think he compares very similarly to Carlos Ulberg, in my opinion, and I really feel like we could see him go down a similar path that Ulberg did, reaching the top 15 in a pretty spectacular way, honestly. So watch out for Navajo Sterling because I really am high on him as a prospect. There could be more tape on him out there in MMA. It's a little bit hard to find his tape. You kind of got to go to his YouTube, but other than that, I really do trust what I have seen with him, and I do think he is the real deal. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to another one of my DWCS breakdowns. First one for week 5. I'll be bringing one to you for every fight on this episode. We will have a special guest with us for one of our breakdowns coming shortly, so I will keep you guys updated on that. But I appreciate you guys watching up to this point, and thank you for all the love I've got on a couple of my past ones. I really, really have appreciated it. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and like, comment, subscribe for more.